Hello guys, it's Thursday. Hope you're all doing good. I'm gonna just let it settle down a little bit. Let people connect. Didn't make a Discord announcement either. But I'll check out if a few people are dropping in. Excellent connection, it says. That's good. One concurrent viewer. Is that me? Hello! Yep, seen some people coming in. Gisela is here. Chirag. Effie. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Thursday. And Andreas Brillen. Hey, again, congrats on the release. Cool stuff today. I have no idea. I'm in panic mode. So, it's been, interesting. I'll be able to brief you guys a little bit. Good evening, Off the Rails, FE, DJ Crytek. Jen is here, and Joggert with a J. Cool. Keith is here. Peter Nilsson. Chris, congrats. Del Pierre. Yeah, hope your duty went well there, Chris. That you seem to enjoy it. That's good. Kaleidoscope. Sorry, got the chat all the way over there. So people are saying congrats in the chat there a bit, and it's been a crazy day so far. It's been a crazy week, a crazy few years, and I based this stream a lot on game development. Well, it's been Blender, of course, a lot of Blender modeling. And I remember when I started my 10-minute modeling challenge, people were wondering, what are you doing for a day job? What do you work with? And in the beginning, I couldn't really say anything. It's because we just started this project back in 2019 and early 2020s. We were creating this real-time strategy game called Line War. And in the beginning, it was all early on. We came up with a new concept, so we flew under the radar with that. And it's been such a long journey, and it's going to continue. But today, Line War was released on Steam, so it's been a very hectic period. That's why I'm playing calm music now. I don't even know if that's coming through. So, oh, I've got two microphones going. I'm all over the show. Let's have a look. I think this is the proper one. Okay, just you'll start matchmaking against other people, Jules. Don't worry, you'll matchmake against someone else. I'm thinking. Just I'll do you know what? I can give you some private tutoring. How about that? That should get you going, I think. So hello everyone. So yeah, I'll just give you a brief recap then. So 3 years in the making. Me and Christian, we've been making this real-time strategy game, and we've been working on it full time, but just the two of us. And it's been such a long time, but we've enjoyed every minute of it. But I've got so much that I've learned in this process. And it's going to make its way into some tutorials at some point as well, because I have so much information to relay now about developing a game, a lot of do's and don'ts, stuff that we've learned along the way, and especially now coming towards the release, and making a multiplayer game. So if you want to increase your stress levels by about tenfold, create a multiplayer game and release that on Steam. Because I remember when I started looking at multiplayer games, we were looking at, there's a price fee. I remember looking at Photon Game Services, and it was like 100 concurrent players cost X amount of money. And I thought, oh, that seems like a lot of money for 100 concurrent. I bet you my game will have thousands of concurrent, so I'll have to go for something beefier. But even so, we've promoted the game, we've developed the game, we've had a lot of testing, we've had a public beta, and well, it was the Steam Next Fest that we had with over 35,000 matches played. We've had a pretty good outreach of people finding the game. We managed to get up to the popular upcoming lists on Steam now prior to the release. We've had a steady flow of wish lists, and but still, when you release the game and you're relying on people to be in a matchmaking queue, so they can matchmake against each other, it's a really, really scary thing, because people are at different skill levels as well. So when you do the matchmaking, you'll have a span of people. Some become really good, some maybe need to improve, or some are just having fun, depending on whatever level they're playing at. But it's very important that those players are paired against each other, because that's otherwise it's no fun to play the game. If you get crushed all the time, or even if you win all the time with crushing victories all the time, that's no fun either. So for a game like this, it's very important when you make a real-time strategy game that you play against someone who's about equally to your skill. And then when you look at concurrent players, even if thousands of people buy the game, maybe it's 1% of those that are concurrent. So they need to play at the same time. They need to matchmake against each other at the same time. So it becomes the numbers game there is very, very interesting. It's doing really well so far. We've released it. We see stable servers so far. Everything is, touch wood here, is looking okay at the moment. I'm still scared though. So I'm going to reflect a lot on this and make looking back videos. I think a post-mortem or something. So I can ask, if you want to ask questions about creating a multiplayer game or releasing something on Steam, do's and don'ts, stuff that we've learned along the way, fire away, do at Imphenzia. And to be honest, I don't really have anything specifically planned today to do any specific modeling. Maybe we could do a little bit if anyone's up for it. Last week we did the review of the weekly modeling challenge that Arvid and Alex Rack 2 are running in the Discord server. That was really cool, a lot of fun to see what you guys are creating there. So, but I'm gonna open up just for random questions and stuff. No worries, guys. I'm gonna look at the chat here. So do at Imphenzia. That lights up in orange for me. And then just give me a shout if you've got any things that you think we should cover, or if you've got any questions. So let's see who have we got here. We've got how's it going, dude? It's going great. I'm still. I wasn't so nervous before the launch. I'm feeling a little bit more nervous now. so I think one of the tutorials or the videos that I'm going to make later on about game development, it's picking what type of game to develop. And I think for starter projects, there's like I just mentioned about the multiplayer aspect. It's such a much more massive undertaking to go that route than creating a single player game. So that's going to be one of the topics of my a video at some point, where you can when you prioritize what should I make, start with those and build up your skills at making the games. This is it's no joke to to do, and there's so many things that people don't see as well with the game. So you're presented with the RTS game. You can create the commands and draw a unit, like direct your units. You can play against each other. You get end of match reports, and there's so many things behind the scenes. And maybe some of you are aware of it, or you've had some guesses what it could be. But basically, we're launching a whole bunch of server instances. So we've compiled Unity backend servers. They're running on Linux, so it's just a console window. It's not even that. They're running as servers instances back in Linux. So you have to go into the task manager to see that you've even got a server running. And then you have to dynamically scale these up. So when we have something that monitors now the player queue and see how many people are playing the game, and then it assesses if it's 95% of the server instances are occupied, then it scales up. So it launches through an API, it sends these calls to say, okay, I'm going to boot up another 1 or 2 or 5 servers, depending on the trajectory. And then to the cloud provider, it sends off this message, the API call, and it scales up and it builds, say, 10 new VM virtual machines with Linux on it, installs them all, installs the LineWar game server executable, launches those as a whole bunch of different servers, and they'll report in. And when people play the press now button, it'll use the Steam backend to matchmake. Okay, is anyone else interested in playing right now? What rank are they? Can we find a lobby together? Okay, we found a lobby now. Let's matchmake on the server. Let's log into the server. Let's play the game, and then they'll enjoy the game. And then hopefully, hopefully someone won. Or you can't really tie in LineWar. I don't think that's possible. And then they disconnect. And at some point during the hours, maybe it's fewer instances needed, so it detects, okay, I've dropped under 80%, so it'll start to send calls to say, okay, I'm going to destroy these virtual machines, they don't have any games running. And so much work has gone into that since about the new year, just this whole elasticity. So a lot of people have been playing the demo, which has been a really fun period, and we've had a lot of questions. What's new and cooking for the new for the release? And so much work is going into this server dynamic elastic scaling thing. That for the two of us, it's basically taken up our whole time to do it. And then we've also had all of these different type of decisions to make. Should we go early access? Should we not? Should we wait another year before we release, or should we not? And we're coming to a pretty clear understanding of what we need to do. And there's a lot of choices to make when you do this development. Because first of all, we've invested 3 years of our lives full time to create the game. And we've done it self-funded. And so at some point you need to say, okay, now the game is playable. We've had over 35,000 matches played with the game, and most of those have come out successful. We've got some issues still with network issues that could potentially be an issue for us. But at some point, we need to say, okay, we've got a game that ourselves, we played 600 matches at least, me and Basantos alone, or Christian, who I've been creating the game with. And we've had all these matches played, and we compared a little bit to chess sometimes. So when you play a game of chess, it's simple. The rules are simple. The pieces are simple. You don't need a lot of game modes for it to be fun. Basically, you can play at different speeds. Maybe you have a 1 minute limit or a 5 minute or something, or you have unlimited time. But other than that, the rules are the same. And it's very easy to get carried away when you make a game mode. Oh, I'm going to add this game mode. I'm going to add 2v2, 3v3. I'm going to have free-for-all. I'm going to have one mode where you don't have rockets. I'm going to have one mode where you only fly aircraft. And every time you make a decision to do something like that in a game, you're taking that player pool and you're splitting it down right in the middle and say, okay, you guys, you can try to matchmake it against each other because you want to play 2v2. And you guys, you're going to play without rockets. And then these guys are going to play without troop ships. And suddenly you've got all these little islands of players that are going, oh, there's no one to play against. This is no fun. So we really wanted to release the game and have people enjoy the 1 versus 1 mode. That's what Lion Wars was primarily designed to do. And initially we were going to go for early access, a very big decision, and we have so many discussions about how should we do it. And if we would have released it last summer, which we were originally considering doing, Lion Wars would have definitely gone into early access. But as we learn about the Steam process, about how games are promoted with the algorithm, what the opportunities are if you're early access versus if you're a normal release. And we also managed to get a lot of players playing the game during that period of time and realizing that what we designed originally and how we intended the game to be played, that works really well. So we made the decision to not go early access. We wanted to release the game. Here it is. Anyone can play it now. 1v1. It'll increase the chances of matchmaking. And hopefully people can enjoy and play against each other a lot. And there's a leaderboard, this skill-based ranking. And then we'll keep developing the game, and we can see how it performs, where we should put our focus in and developing it. And a lot of other games are going that route these days as well, where you keep adding content. Some do it in form of DLCs. They'll release a base game, do DLCs. Some do, like Fortnite, for example, where you have... you'll release a game that was in early access for a while, and then basically it just shifts. They add content, they remove content, they try different game modes, they remove game modes and things. So I think times have shifted a little bit on how that is done. And then another very difficult decision as well is when do you step out of early access if you're going for an early access release. So do you do it when you've added Teams play, or what we're going to add technologies? Should we step out of early access then? Or do you do it when we've got single player, which we're not 100% convinced that you would add enough to the game to make it viable? It's still on our roadmap to do it if we can get to that point. So we decided we'll publish the roadmap, which is on linewar.com, and show people transparently, okay, here's the game, here's our plans for it. Please enjoy, play the game while we continue on it. And there was one more thing I was going to say about that. Thought about Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that, but it's not. There's so many things to say. So that's our plan for going forward. We'll keep developing it. And that's what I was going to say. We decided to regulate that with the price point instead. So we dropped the price point down all the way down to $19.99, but then we have a launch discount as well, so you can get it for like $15 or 15 euros, or 12 euros even, because of the regional conversion, 13 euros or whatever it is. So we wanted to do it that way instead. We reduced the price so as many people as possible can enjoy and play the game while we continue. So let's go to the chat comments here. Let's see, we've got a lot of questions here. Benilo, why is Steamworks so bad? I don't know. Do you mean the Steamwork publisher backend, where it feels like a random 90s webpage where you can't really find anything and it feels like all the features are being jammed in randomly? I don't know if that's the case. Let's see, some more. We've got Kaleidoscope. When are you adding a game on Steam? Does it cost like $100? Yes, to add a game on Steam, it costs $100. It's a submission fee. It used to not be a payable fee, but you had to get your game greenlit back in the day. And greenlighting a game means that you had to... This is old info. You had to get enough people to show interest in a game before they accepted it. So in that sense, I think that the fee of $100 is actually good in a way because it adds the opportunity without having to get it greenlit. The problem is that anyone that can afford the $100 will create and release a game. So it floods the Steam marketplace a lot. There's so many releases. I think there's on average 30 releases on Steam every day. In 2021, there was 11,000 games released on Steam. So breaking through that noise is extremely difficult, and we were happy enough to end up on the popular upcoming for the past about 4 or 5 days. But that was a lot of hard work has gone in to try to get influencers to play the game a bit, try to show it off on YouTube. A lot of posts every here and there. We've done a lot of drives ourselves, so it's but it costs $100. Chris, how much time do you think was spent on workflow? That's the part I find the hardest, in exporting, importing models, setting up scenes, testing functionality, planning, etc. Interesting. Funny enough, the workflow was solid pretty much from the beginning, which is quite cool. So Christian, who I work with, he was brand new to Unity when we started. He's got a 20-year development background as a very good object-oriented C# developer. So he had a lot of good design practices and patterns and test-driven methodologies to develop the game, and also with the architecture. So even back in 2019, we set up the basic Unity project, how the server core, how the client, how the common interfaces should be, the dependency injection, how we should have everything communicating between scene transitions and between the objects in the game, and how the factories would build these units and destroy them, and everything. So I think a lot of work has gone a lot more into designing the game and putting in a lot of the AI work, for example, on how the units should behave. And the commanded drawing system took a long time. So many things, like when you draw on terrain, how should it deform these paths? When you toggle lane count, how should it truncate when you reach to the beaches? How should you get all the units to not stack up and overflow? How should you get them to prioritize distributing them over the different commands? And on my table, it was a lot, how do you build this seamlessly, infinitely scrolling world? How do you get all the territories set up? How do you detect, how do you build a navigation mesh so Unity can send the AI to direct them into different paths? So a lot of the work has been spent on that. And then for the actual import-export of units, when well, you know me from the 10-minute modeling, the units I designed a very long time ago, and since we're so small scale, they still hold up pretty good when you look at top down. So I think not much work has gone into actually the import flow into there. But then as we upgraded the buildings, that took a bit of time because we're animating the construction, so that took a fair amount of time. And also to remember is, let's say we want to iterate and upgrade all the buildings so they have a construction phase, which we do. And say you have 20 buildings, you have to repeat that process 20 times over. And it becomes a little bit tedious and hard work that way. So, all right, let's have a check. What else is going on here? We've got Julia Aldur. Exactly. You even spelled your name the way I pronounce it. Welcome. And thank you for the congratulations. And Lucian, you're a legend for me. Thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know if that's true, but if it is for you, I'm happy about that. Thanks for joining the stream. Jules, only £12 in the UK. Buy today. Yes, buy today. That would help us a lot, actually. We're trying to get into the new and trending, and we're fighting with Warhammer 40k's big release they've been pre-selling for a while, and then also another big release. So last time I checked, we were not on the main page for trending. I don't know how many sales would be required for that, but it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to discuss on how we can share. We want to also we're all for transparency, but we also have to be careful with what we can and cannot show for different reasons. But I'm all for helping people release and create games. So at some point I'll be able to. I've taken a lot of screenshots and a lot of notes during the whole release process. So like a year ago, how many wish lists did we have? What was the trend looking like? What were the good and the bad, and how has it progressed over the time? What worked and what didn't work? So I'll be happy to share about things like that. Arvid, so Kaleidoscope had a good question, but you forgot at. Okay, when are you? Okay, so I have actually answered that one. When you add a game on Steam, does it cost $100? It costs, yeah. So let's, Jim Engström, hello, and Stephen Thomas, hello. We got Arvid speaking to Julia. Nice to see. How far behind am I on the chat here? Let's have a look. We've got Mia PC just arrived. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you didn't wait until the end of the stream this time. Appreciate it. Very happy about that. And how I've been speaking for 23 minutes already. Let's see, am I missing something else? Oh yeah, I forgot to add the mention in the Discord. There's been so many... I've sent so many things out, like newsletters. Who even sends those these days? We've got a mailing list on the website, and a few people have actually still used to sign up for mailing lists. So I've emailed them, and I've tried to navigate my way on Reddit. And Reddit is like a, I don't know, it's probably showing through, I don't know, I was going to say showing through my age, but that's not the case, because Reddit, I'm guessing, like, kids don't use Reddit these days. It's all app-based, and Snapchat is probably even too old. It's I don't even know what people use these days. But Reddit is a very, it's a cool place, but I don't understand it, and I need to learn it. And if you do it right, and I have to be a little bit more active of just consuming things there, and I hardly find the time to consume info. And then found that there's a very good way to actually do promote stuff, but you have to be very careful when you promote stuff on Reddit for obvious reasons. You shouldn't be spamming out, here's my game, come check it out. But I did actually learn of a very effective way. So when I posted one there that wasn't too self-promoting, I didn't think, because I'd seen other people do it exactly the same way. So I created a post where it said, we've created a game. It took us 3 years. Here's a glimpse at what it looked like back in the day, and here's what it is now. So I thought, excellent, I'll be able to just share this one as a one-off. It's going to hopefully help people to see, these guys created a game and it took 3 years. Why did it take that long? Or that's impressive. How could it go that fast? I don't know. So I shared it, and it exploded. It was in r/gaming, and it's got like 32 million people in that one. So the view count just accelerated a lot. But the problem was that I hadn't, since I'd read a lot of the stuff on Reddit, I thought my first post was all right. But it got taken off because you need to have a healthy ratio of just, I guess, chatting random junk or something, or engaging in, I don't know, posting other cat images or something. I don't know. So it was unfortunately taken off. Lesson learned there. So if you're going to do stuff there, of course, I knew to be careful not to over promote or anything. I didn't want to do that. But you have to be very careful and like have a good pre-built. So even if you haven't posted anything before, don't come in and think that that's okay. All right. So let's have a look. We've got another question here. And Dianish, I'm going to actually read it, not just the first and the last letter. Div Jansch. Today I learned doing weapon modeling the easiest way. Great. Share it. Go. Put it on YouTube. Maybe I can look it up. That sounds good. People are complaining, apparently, since you didn't announce the stream on Discord. Yeah, I was a bit concerned that I wasn't going to do a proper stream at all today, because I was on firefighting mode. I was ready to check what happens if the servers just stop working. What happens if them... I don't know. There's so many things that could have gone. So I was very much on the fence whether I should be able to stream or not. So let's have a look. What else do we have here? Getting Line War tonight. Thanks, Mia. Happy to hear it. I'm gonna check actually. I'm in panic mode here, so it's. Did anyone watch the Indie Game, the movie back in the day? I think that's nearly 8 years old now. I used to love that one. We've still got a whole bunch of people playing, which is nice. We've got at the moment 40 games running there. Instances are healthy. Well, I'm guessing my co-dev Christian will call me on my phone. I'll put it here in case there's an emergency. So, okay, let's have a look. We got Jim Engström. Any plans for AI for folk that want to test single player before they join online play? That's probably the most common question we get for Line War. And plans and ideas are there, but I'll actually, this is such a big topic that I will spare a few moments to talk about it. Because even though we've got AI now that tells units to go and distribute, because you'll have like 3 commands, and when you draw them, it'll have a prioritization. So you should go there, you should go there, you shouldn't go there because your priority should be this defense line, and the pathfinding, everything like that is good. The problem when you create a game like Line War is we control the units in this different way of drawing the commands. And in order to create a single player experience, there are 2 things. One is like called AI skirmishes, where you play against a computer. So you'll set up, let's say you just play against a pretend player, and then you want to play against a computer. Then you need to build this whole system where if you could do it in a cheating way, where it just randomly tries to draw commands everywhere and go, okay, I'll try to draw a command here, but that makes no sense, but the player won't know that. That's one way to do it. And the other one to do it, which is probably the more correct way to play against an AI, would be that it should analyze what's going on, what can it see that's out of fog of war, how should it respond, how should it simulate to draw this command then, how should it draw this attack path, how should it put a defense line, when should it release the defense line. So without joking, I'd say adding AI skirmishes to Line War as it is now probably would take like, I don't know, a year or something for the two of us to build that up. Because once you've got that in place, you also need to build in, not so much for AI skirmishes, because then it's basically just saying that here's another player that's controlled by someone else. So you could look at machine learning paths to do it. You could have a random command drawer, and that would look hilarious, I think, on the replays, because you'd go and go, what is that player doing? It's like drawing line commands there, it's doing circles over there, and it'd probably look a little bit weird. So adding that to our development task would be such a huge like monstrous task to do with the type of game it is. So we've decided for that reason that it's better and more important for the game that we make sure that the gameplay work, because what if we change the gameplay halfway down the line and then we have to reassess and rebuild the whole and maintain the single player experience at the same time, and it'd be very difficult. Plus, people that spend time then playing against the AI instead, that means there's going to be less players in the player pool. So when someone else presses play now because they want to play a human, there won't be anyone there necessarily. But we understand that people have this desire to play against themselves, not with themselves, against themselves, or against an AI. So at some point we will be looking at it, but it all depends on the future, on how we can progress with implementing the rest of the game and stuff. So I'd say hopefully the skill-based matchmaking now will send people and get them matched against. So if you lose a bunch of matches, you'll play against another one who's lost a bunch of matches, hopefully too, and it should balance out. But there is a sandbox mode, and I understand that that's not playing against another one, but you can launch the sandbox mode in the game, and it allows you to toggle between the two players. So you can start in calm, you have a glass of water or something, soft. I don't know, Coca-Cola, whatever you prefer, and then put on some nice music and start drawing commands, see how the units align, send some attacks, toggle against the other players, send a big rocket and see how big impact crater it has, all those things. You can do that as much as you want offline. It won't affect your skill score or anything like that. So sandbox, sit there, play around until you feel comfortable, and then have the guts then to go and press play now and match against a random stranger and see. And even if you lose, don't worry about that. That's part of the game. All right. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention as well about single player. The other one, as opposed to AI skirmishes, which is when you play against just a computer opponent, is campaigns, and that's also a huge task, because then suddenly you have to have a story, you need to build up these scenarios, you have to have an ability to record different scenarios, and you have to validate how should it react if you draw this command. So we're a little bit to the AI skirmish as well, like how should it behave when you do certain things. Plus you have to have maybe some cutscenes and making it interesting, and again it would split the player pool, so people would maybe play in the campaign and would have a unhealthy online player pool. And the goal for Line War has always been our target audience and the people that it's play 1v1 and teams in the near future and play against each other, and we're hoping to do a lot of tournaments. We're speaking to this event center in Stockholm called Space, see if we can rent their big screen and have some tournaments there. It's going to probably be installed on a bunch of their PCs as well in the PC cafe. They've got a super cool place there. So we really want to have it where people can play it against each other and enjoy those matches. And spectators should pretty good because you can see what the commands are, so you can see what the players are thinking. I remember looking at StarCraft 2 matches, people are just creating, like doing these random super fast 500 actions per minute things, and you don't know what's going on. In Line War you see all the commands, so it's a little bit friendly to see. All right, let's have a look at some more questions. Let's have a look. We've got I'll just scroll up a little bit here. So Miguel is asking, are there actually things that you aren't allowed to talk about with a contract with Steam? That's one thing I have to look into, because I don't know if there's a reason why there's a bit of a silence when it comes to like, I don't know, wish lists and how the game performs. There's a lot of speculations, but I've also seen a lot of surveys. I've looked at those to see if there's a correlation between the number of wish lists and when a game can perform well or not. But before I go and create a big in-depth video, I have to clear it with make sure I don't say anything that Steam isn't preventing me to say, and also with my code dev, of course, so I don't say anything else. And we've got the let's see, we talked about the stream in Discord, so people happen to check out the general chat, they'll know you're here. Thanks. Great. Thanks for sharing that. We've got another one, Stonekun. Hi, Imphenzia. I try creating a simple RPG with your low poly style, but I always suck on modeling non-humanoid monsters in low poly. Any suggestions for low poly monsters to fight in low poly RPGs? Funny you should say that, because I might be, like I mentioned before, I've been in communications with GameDev.tv and hoping to make a course there actually for fantasy non-bipedal characters. So, but that's a little bit in the future, and I'm just about to start researching that after the game launch now. So maybe stay tuned. I could share some things on my YouTube, hopefully that. So let's see, we've got Oradu. Hi, Imphenzia. Sorry if this is out of place. I was wondering if you have considered making Blender plus Unity to VR game series. I haven't, and there's a good reason for the VR thing. I get really motion sick. I cannot really do VR stuff most of the time. So there's the odd few games I can try, but working with it would be a very difficult thing for me to do, unfortunately. So we got Benilo, how you getting on with Unreal? So I haven't had a chance so much yet since my previous couple of videos about it, mainly because of the game release now, of course. So hopefully things will calm down, and Line War will be my normal 9 to 5, so I can focus my spare time and hobby on learning Unreal a little bit more. Who is playing behind you? That's actually my computer that is playing a stream onto the Steam page. So you can have on the Steam site for a game, at the top you can have a stream of something, and I've streamed a few matches with the codev. We played yesterday and the day before, and I also recorded those, and you can stream that much like I'm streaming this now to YouTube. So that's a bit of a it's a good thing, because you can pop up on currently streaming pages on the Steam website, so people find the game a little bit that way, because they'll say, oh, something's called Line War is streaming. So that PC behind me right there is streaming one of the matches. So it's doing its job there. All right, let's have a look. We got the Mega Wigan. How do you stream when you released the game 45 minutes ago? I don't know. I'm all hands on deck, I was going to say. Let's just do another. I'll check my Discord here just to make sure that... Why am I not in Discord? Okay, so my codev has not said anything yet, or screamed my name in despair here. We've had still a healthy climb on the number of game instances, so I'm feeling okay to stream still. I don't want to let you guys down on a Thursday, come on. But sorry for not creating like a Blender video or something. I just thought I could share with you guys how nerve-wracking it is to release a game that you've been working on for 3 years on Steam, especially when it's multiplayer, and when some people think, why did you release it now? Why don't you work on it for another 3 years and make it into like campaigns? And I'm like, okay, I'll just magically, I don't know, get a whole bunch of funding so I can do that. Or maybe we'll just release the game, the stable parts of it, and have people enjoy the journey with us. I don't know. Mia PC, RTS AI is hard. Should I scroll down? Should I go? I think I'm... how many chat messages have I missed? Am I like half... how far back am I on the chat? If someone says, hello, Imphenzia right now, I'll see if I'm up to speed on the chat, and then I'll scroll upwards instead. Stephen Thomas, it's great that you finally got the game launched. Yeah, but it's not over. The journey is not over yet. It's a long way to go, because we have so many things we want to add to the game and keep improving it. So it's all going to be down to now if we can get a bit of a loyal player base and get people to share their matches. We've had a couple of guys, John Joe, I hope I said your name, Joe John, or John Joe, and Michael Frost. They've been starting to narrate some Line War matches. actually really enjoy looking at that when people play against each other and seeing the narration on it. So Eric, why no Mac version? It's we can compile for both Mac and Linux at some point, but a bit related to launching the game and how many components there are that could be problematic. So we felt like if we try to launch and maintain a Mac, a Linux, and a Windows version at the same time during the release, it's going to be difficult. I mean, we're the development team, we're the marketing team, we're the operations team, we're everything. So we have to be really careful not to try to get into a deployment process that would be too difficult. So we can add Mac and Linux clients at some point because we're built in Unity, so we can compile for those. So do you have learning about tower defense? I don't have any topics on that yet, but it's funny you should mention tower defense, because when we're speaking about when I mentioned the single player modes potentially for Line War in the future, I spoke about AI skirmishes and I spoke about campaigns. Both of those are super tricky to implement. But what we are considering maybe as the first step towards a single player experience at some point is a tower defense like mechanic. So imagine that you have a set of units or structures or a budget, and your goal is to attack or either defend against oncoming waves of units with pre-constructed commands. That would be a more realistic way for us to start implementing something. So that could be like a challenge where you have waves coming and they're all coming according to a preset pattern, and your goal would be to form defense lines and protect yourself and maybe build reinforcements in good time, and that could be scored with maybe some sort of a Steam achievement. I think that would be a really cool way to start introducing some single-player experience at some point. So we spoke about that. But I don't have any topic on tower-like defense things. But look up, if you want to Google a bit about it, learn about triggering colliders to detect when something enters a trigger. So you can have maybe a shooting mechanic, and also look at overlap sphere, so you can detect if there are any units in range, and then you could maybe target one of those and fire your weapon. So those are a couple of good things to start looking at. Okay, I probably missed a few things. I'm going to try to scroll up a little bit too, but we've got Jules. Have you considered contracting out development of the single player AI? Sounds like another development branch that some other team could work upon for shared royalty. Yeah, that's another interesting thing. We've, as we mentioned, it's only me and Christian that's worked on the game so far. And one of the things we would absolutely love to do would be able to accelerate development by hiring people at some point. That would be fantastic. The problem with that, of course, is we're an indie development team, self-funded, and for that to be able to work, it needs to be. I mean, we've been in a bit of a risky situation because we've committed over 11,000 hours now of development time without any pay. So this whole thing is going to say, okay, when we start selling the game, first of all, we're selling it at a very low price, and we know that it limits a lot of players since we don't have single player. So it's going to be very interesting to see the economic, the commercial aspects of running this. I probably speak for both me and Christian that we would absolutely love if the game could become very popular, so we could get enough funding to hire people, because we would absolutely love to get people to help us out and branch out, because we're doing too many different things now. Now it's like I said before, it's operations now, because we've got the server thing to worry about. We've got the dynamic server scaling, we've got Linux stuff, we've got the API web development, we've got creating the tutorials, continuing the development of the game, and managing a lot of the communications and so many things. So we would love to do it, but it's also tricky to find. If we were to do it on a future commission base, that's going to be difficult too, to convince enough people and finding the right people that would tackle that. So it's a lot of business related trickery to combat to get to that point, to get some people to help out that way. Okay, so Ola Jetgrove Jetlund, sorry for being late today. Almost summer in Norway today, but congratulations. Well, it's almost summer here today. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I have been for the past week, even if it's quite chilly every now and then, but I'm considering it to be summer. So welcome. Let's have a look. Some more at Imphenzia. Did you have many publishers contacting you, and why did you decide not to use one? Off the Rails asking. Another very good question. And we've had quite a few publishers contacting us, plus we had a session of contacting publishers too. Some were very small and niched indie publishers, and we've even been in the negotiations with like super big publishers. We were thrilled to even be on their radar. And we went into legal discussions. I cannot disclose most of it because it's all under NDA and things. But in the end, we decided not to not continue with that publisher, and it's because with the legal terms, we were very afraid that for a big publisher like that, they could consider Line War to be maybe an experiment because it's a new market and a new type of game. And we were scared that if it was released and it didn't perform very well, that basically it'll just get pulled off the market and shelved, and it would take us maybe 12 months to 2 years, if ever, that we could get back and get everything under our control. And we had invested so much time and effort into doing it, so we got a little bit cold feet to let that. We didn't dare to go that path, so it was a big decision to say no thank you, because we've been dreaming about something like that for a very long time. And then also we were so close to this stage of the development that usually you'd maybe have a publisher a lot earlier so they can help you fund the game. But we'd already committed so much of our time and effort that we decided to want to go the self-publishing route for that reason. So we'll see. Don't know if it was the right decision, but I'm happy that we're in full control at least. Let's see. Have I got anything else? At Imphenzia, if you got any questions. And I thought the stream on Steam was live. Well, it was yesterday. It was live. Miguel, I just recorded it as well, so we could have some loop and stuff there. Otherwise, I'd be super good at multitasking if I was playing over there against Pasantos and speaking to you guys at the same time. I do Jimmy Engström, I do so weak coffee. Maybe it's a soft drink. Yeah, I've got some coffee here. It's cold, but I'll take it. And Mia PC, I love what you're saying there. I think Line War system, drawing visual lines, is a good evolution to a new breed of RTS games. I hope it'd be cool to see. We're breaking some new and scary ground there. We'll see how it goes. So let's see. ASMR, do sale at Imphenzia says, of course, do sales from Unity Asset Store update daily? I think so. I think when you refresh it, yeah, they do. Well, at least they did when I started there many years ago. Because I remember when I started to sell space for Unity, and it had a bit of an exposure on one of their sales cycles, and I refreshed the sales, and it increased by 1. And I sold another package, and I was absolutely over the moon. And then I told my wife, and I was super excited, and then went back and refreshed, and I sold another packet. So I got a cup of coffee. I refreshed again, F5, and there was another package sold, and I was like, woohoo! This is it. This is going to be it. But as with many things, there's same thing with the stream release now. There's a peak when it starts to sell, and you get super excited thinking, I'm going to quit my day job. I'm going to do everything I've ever dreamed about doing. And then that peak is temporary, and then it drops, and then it goes down to not being a peak. It's also called a valley or a flat line or something. So it didn't work out that way, but they do update, or did at least. So let's see, any more questions at Imphenzia if you want to ask me any questions. So today became a random stream of me freaking out releasing Line War, absolutely petrified. Me and Christian did a little recording session yesterday where we asked each other a few questions. So we have some records on what we felt like, what we were worried about. So we've got some material there for some sort of a post-mortem thing. All right, let's have we've got another question here from Hussein. At Imphenzia, if you want to fire magic... Okay, if you want to fire magic in multiplayer game with a delay, who must calculate this? Server, attacker, defender. So, if you want to fire magic in multiplayer with a delay... Well, first of all, I'm not exactly sure. I just probably understand what you're saying. My brain is a little bit fried. But when you're creating a multiplayer game, there's a lot of decisions to be made. So we've decided to go for a server approach where we have control over the server that's running in the cloud, and then 2 clients connect to the server, and the server makes all the decisions. Everything is server authoritative, it's called. The only thing that the clients can do is they'll draw a command, and it'll always send a request to do something. It'll send a request to the server, say, I'm requesting to draw a command here. Can I do it? And then the server goes, yep, okay. And then it sends to all the clients. The player could draw them. And the validations would happen if you draw something stupid. Then the server would say, no, you weren't allowed to do it. So that's a pretty good approach. And especially if you're worried about cheating, there's still going to be issues with cheating. But at least that's one step in the good direction to do those type of design I don't know, decisions. Try to make the server as authoritative as you can. And another good thing with that is that everything that's just sent to the client is just the results all the time. And sometimes you have to go into something called client prediction. If you're doing a really fast first-person shooter, then you have to predict. This is super tricky because you have to predict when you aim at something. You cannot have the server say, okay, hold on. That's how the old Quake game was developed, actually. You had to send a request and you say, I want to turn, and then the server said, go back. Okay, you've turned now. So there's a lag, even on fast internet connections these days with fiber and all sorts. There's a delay there, which is a problem. So it doesn't work. So for first-person shooters and stuff, you have to have client-side prediction where you're allowed to turn your player. It'll automatically update, and it'll start to predict where the opponent is as well. So an opponent will be running in this direction. It'll predict by, so you can see it in real time. It'll actually show where it's predicting it to be rather than where it actually is, because it's actually lagging behind. And then you have to smooth that out and all sorts of things. So it's very, very tricky. And then, luckily enough for line war, we don't need client-side prediction at all, because when you draw a command, the units will organize themselves. There's a bit of a built-in sort of a delay because the units, they take a while before they respond. So even with half a second delay, or even a second, I suppose, you could still play line war because you wouldn't really be able to see the difference. And also, another thing that's important is that if you have two clients and they're separated, even if they're sitting next to each other but they don't see each other's screen, it's not super important that they're showing exactly the same thing at that very moment in time. It's important that the server knows exactly what's going on, and it's important that the clients roughly know what's going on, but having a one-to-one exact synchronized experience is not necessary, because you wouldn't know necessarily exactly what the opponents see anyway. So things like ragdolls and stuff, if they fall different, not a problem. I mean, as long as they ragdoll, that's the key thing, isn't it? So in your case, I would say it's always good to have the server calculate those things. If you, I don't know exactly what type of magic makes me think of Mr. Bean there for some reason. So we've got next gen graphics. Do you follow game design patterns in your projects? Game design, we're following some patterns, of programming patterns. So in that sense, we're using dependency injection, for example, with something called Zenject or Xtenject these days. That took a while for me to get used to, because I'm used to having like a singleton. And remember, in my old videos, I always did a singleton slap as soon as it's a singleton, because it's you're not supposed to do them. But I sort of think it's for small projects. I like them a lot because it's simple enough to understand. But we got dependency injection, and my co-dev Christian is gonna probably like travel from Ekera to my house now and punch me in the face if I say the wrong things. But we've also got other patterns, which I can't even remember the name of. I just follow the ones that he set out for me to follow. So it's I think we've got stuff like factory patterns, where we have a factory like creating and tearing things down. We've got it's tester-driven design, because I'm not so good with testing, but he sets all of those cool things up. So automation, you just press test, and it runs through all the automations with the tests to make sure everything's working, that you didn't break and get regression or something. And there's some patterns that I'm keeping to forget what they're even called. Separation of duty, but that's called something else. Everything should have a distinct well, tell me off, Christian. Go on. I'll read on it and then say it properly. All right, we've got some more questions here. We've got Chris again. Do you ever see touch control support for something like a Steam Deck or a tablet? Seems like a natural fit. Yeah, we've been discussing like mobile is too small for line work, because you'd like sit there and with my fat fingers you couldn't even do a thing. Plus there's the actual drawing would work, but not like the rest. But for iPads or tablet sized, I think it would be super cool, because you can imagine like you take three fingers and draw like a triple line if you do one finger and there's one line, or if you do, I don't know, if you hold down here and drew there, it's a path. So that would be a really cool thing. We've definitely talked about the potential for that in the future, and we also spoke about AR for line war in the future. Imagine that you have AR goggles or something. Don't think they make me as seasick. And then you sit around a table and you have like the table is got the whole line war thing where you can actually do stuff with your hands. That would be pretty cool. All right, so we've got another question. Miguel again, DC. Did you come up with the design of line war having these latency problems, multiplayer problems in mind, or did it just happen to work by accident? Yeah, we thought about them pretty early on. And our first approach that we tried we thought was the right one, but we decided to go against it. And the first one is that we, as I mentioned with the client-side prediction, we actually had the AI logic running on the server and the client, so the client could predict and then the server would correct. We thought that was the right thing to do in the beginning, but it turned out it wasn't, because we had some correction and a jitter. All the units suddenly just did a little nudge like this, and it was didn't look that nice. It worked. I mean, the gameplay worked, but it didn't look aesthetically very good. So then at some point we go, okay, we'll just send updates, and we were a bit concerned about the network bandwidth required then, because all the units, so say you have 1,000 units or something, usually you don't have that many in a single, like at the same time. But let's say you have 100 units. Actually, 4 times a second we send up an update to the client, and we compress those packets. So it sends up an update to say, this is my new location, this is my heading. And then the client will just lerp. It's a linear interpolation where it just glides the units in that direction. And then we made sure that the frequency is sufficient, so everything works pretty good. Aircrafts are a little bit trickier because they move a little bit faster, and they have these nice banking maneuvers and stuff. So they have a couple of more parameters that come with them, I think. So we opted for that design. Much better to do it that way. Just let the server stream out. And one thing we're really looking forward to doing is in the game client, we'd like to add so that anyone could connect and subscribe to an ongoing match stream. So imagine, rather than streaming it through YouTube, which you could do, of course, as well, or Twitch or whatever, imagine that you could have the game client and there is a tournament or something, and you click here, I'm going to go now, I'm just going to connect to this game because I know it's going on. And then you just start getting all those packets of information. So it'll tell you where all the units are, what commands there are. And then you could use your own mouse and scroll in and zoom in and maybe narrate and create a video of your own, or just follow along. So imagine having 10,000 players following a match, going, zooming in and go, oh, this is going to be crazy. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's have a look. We got Kafenovic at Imphenzia. Once it becomes insanely popular, will there be a Line War 2 or a Line War in space? Well, first of all, I really hope that it does become insanely popular. At least I hope it becomes popular enough so you get a good player base. People get how to play it, because one of the things I've been having nightmares about is the tutorial things. How do you... Interactive tutorial is another super tricky thing to build into these games, because we have this whole multiplayer experience, but all the validation. How do you present a player to do this? How do you rewind if they did it wrong? How do you tell them to do it again? So again, that would be like probably half a year of development just to get interactive tutorials in. So we've been speaking a lot about if it becomes popular, how could we do? And the path forward is to keep evolving Line War as it is now. We've got a roadmap on linewar.com. We're going to add team plays. We're going to add technologies. One more unit is coming in. We're going to do the esports and the tournament stuff, and also just keep evolving the game. Maybe there'll be some graphical updates at some point. Bye low poly. No, maybe not. But it should hold up to zoom into different angles to get some cooler scenes. So it's going to evolve in that sense first, and then we've been speaking about the potential future is super cool, because you could, the unit, imagine you just replace all the units with World War II counterparts, so all the tanks would like be a bit Tiger tank instead of a half sci-fi tank. It could be Spitfires instead of the those type of planes, or I don't know, Messerschmitts or something. So the game would do really well as a World War II, or even a sci-fi with a railgun shooting, laser beaming mech warriors or something. That could work too. So there's so many things that could happen in the future, and it's all depending on how can we progress and develop the game. And then it's a decision: do we expand Line War as a concept and use that as a platform to branch into like a World War II version of it, or do we create a Line War 2, or do we create a Line War World War II like 1942 spin-off or something? When should that be realistic maps? Should we have a map editor? There's so many things that could happen. So we hope it does actually work out, and that people like the game enough so we can continue on it. Yeah, C command. The only thing that wouldn't work, I guess, is rewinding all the way back to like medieval warfare, because then you'd have to skip the flying stuff unless you had some fantasy dragons or something, I don't know. But it's also very important for us. We've had a lot of questions about mod support. Anyone who's creating a game will probably get loads of questions about that. And I've always been a little bit on the fence again on that one, because it's super cool that people want to take the game and extend on it. I think that's really good. But what I spoke about before of potential having player separation into different player pools. Imagine if you have a mod that becomes quite successful, or another one that becomes successful. then the players will start to divert into these different experiences, and they'll play different things, and maybe it's not exactly what we intended. But then again, I've listened to so many podcasts. It's called Designer Notes. You should check that out by Søren Johansen. Very cool if you're into game development. He's interviewing a lot of people, and he's been doing it for years, including Sid Meier. There's like a 6-hour interview with him. Very, very good. I recommend that you check those out if you're interested in game design and game development. And I even forgot what I was about to say about that, but he said something really important in there anyway. Oh yeah, that mod support is important. That's what I was going to say. So we will visit it at some point. Hi, Imphenzia. Hello. Nice to have you here. Let's see. Any more questions? Remember to put @Imphenzia if you want to direct any questions at me. I've been talking about this for an hour now. So I tend to miss most of the stuff that doesn't have @Imphenzia. But I'm guessing you're chatting with each other, which is pretty cool. All right. I think, you know what? I think I'm up to the last chat line. So I'm going to open up for a closing, and then I'll have to refresh my service side information here to see if I should be okay or not. If I should panic or be happy. Let's have a look. Got some games playing. I wonder if the leaderboard... go to linewar.com/leader, or go there and navigate to the leaderboard in the menu system, because after people have played 10 matches, you can start seeing there. I'm going to play against Basantos tonight. That's going to be fun. And anyone else random, of course. I'll hit the play now queue as well. So that's it. Do you know what? I think I'm going to round it off there and spare yourself from me chatting away a lot. Gisela, still listening, you're trying to lose in Line War. Try to win. We just want to get back to playing Line War. Yeah. Oh yeah, Chris, you have to get back on the leaderboard now. You should go for it. So all the match data for anyone, some demo players that played Line War had, let's see, wins plus losses. The guy Dante, who's leading the leaderboard, he had 206 wins and 6 losses. And then we had, someone said my nickname sucked, I think. That's a good nickname. He had, let's see, 4 or 5, maybe 500 matches or something played in just 2 months. So we're really excited to see that some people are really clicking with the game, and I actually love to play it myself. As long as I play against someone who's equally matched, that's the key thing. So that we have to focus on that a lot for people to enjoy it as much as possible. But all those, what I was going to say, all those records are still there. So even though we reset the leaderboard now, we can at any point we can bring back a historic leaderboard to show what it was like during the demo session. So if anyone's worried about it, or we're going to have Steam achievements at some point as well, where you can have that's going to be cool, where you can have how many matches you've won, lost, how many units you've killed, how many you've produced, how many territories you captured, all these type of cool statistics that you could become the best at. How many rockets did you shoot down with the SAM units or something? So all that information is still logged. The stuff that we have, not unit specific stuff yet, but that's coming too. All right, so that's it. Stephen, Thomas, very exciting news. Congratulations. Thanks. I'm still on high revs here now, so I'm going to end the stream here and check back next week. I'm probably going to do some more modeling then. We'll do a classic Blender thing. I think maybe I should do a 10-minute modeling challenge, and then we'll also maybe pick a winner of the most recent weekly challenge. So go to the Imphenzia Discord if you haven't been there. And if you want to help Line War out, please feel free to go to Line War on Steam. And if you're into it, buy the game. That would help us out a lot, of course, because every purchase counts towards this new and trending and popularity list, and it would really help us out, of course. So it's been a crazy journey so far, and we're looking forward to continuing it. So any more questions as well, I'll probably do some more streams, and I'll put together a video about this whole experience of creating a big multiplayer game at some point. Let's see, Hossein as well, if you want to create copy of item in left and right side with specific distance side, how can we do this in Blender? If you want to create a copy in the left and right side, maybe, so is it different objects, or if it's in the same object? If it's in the same object, just a mirror modifier would do it. Otherwise, I tend to sometimes make a duplicate and then I'll reverse the coordinates. If it's just a one-off thing, I'll paste it, and then looking at the inspector, I'll mirror all the coordinates myself for the rotation transforms and stuff. So you could type in negative X value, other ones Y and Z should be the same. And then also the rotations you'd have to flip. So it was like if it was rotated 45 degrees, then you'd flip it. So that's cool. Thanks, Arvid. Thank you for the well wishes with the sales. I hope so too. It's been a crazy week for sure. And the sculpting time, Ostkaka says, I don't know. Do you want me to fail? Have you seen my sculpts? Check out that alien. I still didn't dare to deblur that thumbnail because my sculpting was terrible. And also that Kraken that looks like it's on crack. It's insane. Well, maybe I should do it just for fun. Okay. Oh, Christian Elvias. Imphenzia, Christian, you are currently top in new and trending. Are you kidding me? That cannot be true, can it? Is it? Nah. I have to incognito. Remember, do incognito. Otherwise, it'll favor your Steam power. I'll have to check where we are. New and trending. No, we're not there yet. Not in that category, anyway. Hopefully, we'll make it there. That would be super cool. I think it's very important to get there, if possible. So we'll see. But I think in strategy, we're in new and trending. Oh, yes, you are. Do I need to refresh again or something? Let's have a look. I don't see it. I did an incognito, and I'm rotating through new and recommended. Top new releases. Maybe I'll have a look. Yup, you are. Come on, guys. Are you tricking me? What am I doing wrong? Do I need to restart the session altogether? Let's have a look. New incognito. Maybe they're... let's see. Steam powered. New and trending. Not on me. Not on my screen. Maybe they're hiding it from me. See screenshot in Discord. But are you using incognito, or maybe it's like maybe it's connecting your session with? Okay, you feel sorry for Imphenzia here. No, you have to look in Discord. Okay, I'll look in Discord. So, is it in the Lineware Discord, or yeah, there we go. Oh, well, nice to see Lineware being first linear in new and trending. New and trending. Incognito mode? What? Well, I can see it on the screenshot. That would be amazing if it is. Is it? Why don't I see it? They're tricking me. I'm too scared to even think about how that. One of the things I've learned along the way now is back when I started, I thought, like you'll make a game, and I didn't really understand at that point how important those type of things are to hit new and trending and popular upcoming and stuff. If I do get to share a little bit on that experience, as soon as you start popping into these things and when you approach a release date, if you can get some tractions, I think Steam has got 1 trillion page visits per day. That's public on their website. And making something onto the front page. And I remember speaking to the guy who made Laowa Mania, who made Fireworks Mania. And during a New Year's period, it became trending. And getting onto that page is super. I mean, it's the same with the Asset Store, actually, if you get featured in a sale or something. Because it's so many games are being created these days that it's very difficult to get through the noise. So many cool stuff. And we're all trying to fight for that spot. All right, so Oliver, so I guess I'm not finishing just yet because we got Oliver Dalek is asking, Imphenzia, hi, how you motivate you and your partner to finish a project over 3 years? Ooh, very good question. Yeah, it's luckily enough, we're both very determined and structured and motivated to see a project like this through. So I'd say it's very important if you're going to do it as a team. I spoke about this on the GameDev.tv podcast as well. I got the same question there. And you have to, if you're working with someone, it has to be someone that you gel with and that the whole workflow works really well with. It's very, very important. And it's also important that you've got a healthy work balance between the team. So if you're only two, then we tend to complement each other very well. we say friendly things to each other, and sometimes not. No, I'm only joking. But he does so much good stuff on the back end, the server side, the core, then architecture, and he hands stuff over to me, so he'll do some stubs, some placeholders where you can put your logic here, and I'll take over and I'll do my part. So I think having that type of teamwork is very important. I think for a long-term project on your own as well, you just have to have the perseverance to see the end goal and what you want to try to achieve. And working for 2 years and then just finishing it or leaving it, that would be a proper waste of time. And even if it becomes a financial issue at some point as well, because you can only pour so many hours. Like we put 11,000 hours in. If I would have worked full-time as in the consultancy role, I would have made a lot more money, and it would have been probably a very sound thing to do. But we believed we still wanted to create this project, even though we know the risks involved with trying to make an independent game, and especially trying to break into a market and create something different that hasn't been tested in that sense before. So we just had the eye on the ball to move forward, and then when times become tough as well, we try to encourage each other a lot. And we also came into multiple situations where we had to pull the plug and say, okay, this part of the project is too risky or too tricky at this point. We have to roll it back, not be afraid to scrap maybe a couple of weeks worth of work, park it there, we can come back to it at some point, and then keep moving forward on something else. So, and we also work very strict with the planning tool. We use Azure DevOps, where we create a lot of stories and tasks and just maintain that. It's very good motivationally to see that you're moving the task from where they are into active and then to closed. And we've got over 4,200 tasks now that we've gone through over the 3 years. Some are like 15 minute, 20, 30 minute things, and some are a single task could be like, I don't know, 40 hours or something. So super crazy. Yeah, Megan Wigan. Oh my God, it's only 350 megabytes. It is. And do you know what? Do you know what's taking up the space in that? The game itself, with being low poly and procedural worlds, is hardly anything. So all those, about 40 megabytes is the soundtrack. So the music, and the 300 megs is the built-in tutorial videos that we've included and compressed. So the game itself, we had a good time for a long time because it was like 70 megabytes or something. So we got Alex Leonard Crea. We got congratulations on the game. Thank you. That has to feel good. It does, but scary. Did you guys make any custom tooling in Unity for your game? If so, what? And if not, never mind. Okay, we did, but not as much as maybe I would have expected. One of the tools that we made was a control center. And when you create a multiplayer game, that's proven to be very good for us, because we've built it so that we can compile the server. So it'll switch to a headless Linux server build. It'll put the symbols that we need in place. It'll direct maybe how we want the logging to be configured, and then it'll build the executable, copy the Steam app ID text files, and do some post-processing stuff in the background. And that's all the click of one button in Unity. So we customize that control center window. And also we can build the clients, we can build a Windows client or have the production server. Everything is configured in there. And also custom logging system where we can do some filtering on the logs and we'll put on verbose logging and filter it on maybe AI or something. So that's some custom built tooling. What we have not built so much of is when I built my assets, for example, my space for Unity, I had this big custom inspector where everything is sliders instead, and you have a custom inspector to present maybe some graph tools or custom buttons and stuff, and none of that we've needed to put in this game. So that's pretty much the only tooling I think that we've got in Unity, but it's been very, very valuable and saves a lot of time. Also, when we switch between players, in the sandbox that's in our editor, then it's and one more custom tool is I don't know if it's so much of a tool, but when we develop the game, we're running two game clients and one server in the same scene. So the performance isn't great, but it can emulate everything. So instead of having to compile two clients and connect them to a server all the time, that would take so long. So all the development can take place in this one scene. So I guess that's some sort of a tooling. Okay. So, any more questions here? We got Arvid is Imphenzia. Maybe you're on the /explore/new page line where isn't the first listed there, but that's true. But we're looking right at the Steam Store start page. I'm gonna refresh it one more time. That would be too good to be true. Maybe it's cached it for me somehow or something. Even if I'm incognito, maybe I should close all my browsers here, even my other incognito. I usually refresh stuff with incognito when I view stuff like that. Otherwise, it like adapts it. So let's. I'll even start. No, Chrome. You can't see what I'm doing now. I'm aware of that. I'm gonna try Control Shift N, Control V. So yeah, I still don't see it, but I'll take your word for it. I'll choose to believe that it's actually true. So we'll see how it goes. I have no idea if we can see how it's performing. I think it's when it's wishlist, that's updated every day. So you refresh it around noon in Swedish time, and then you see how many wishlist ads there are. And then I'm expecting the sales figures to be the same. Oh yeah, it might be region dependent. In US, Texas, I don't see it on the main page, but export new third in new releases tab. Cool, we'll see how it goes. Very interesting. I'll grab some more screenshots and see what I can put together. I want to help as many people as possible that are following my YouTube channel and also in the Imphenzia Discord community. And I don't think Lion War doesn't have so many game developers that's following it, but I want to be able to try to help as much as I can and share what we learned. It's so important, I think. So Michael Cuddy, would love to see your build scripts. Mine are handy but primitive. Auto build, number, increment, build demo, and all 3 architectures. Yeah, it's not that complicated. Our ones are not that complicated. It's just a convenience thing where you put the build options and make sure that you don't have to do the manual going up to the menu, changing the build, which scene should be included. So it tells which scene should be built and what platform it should be, if debugging should be enabled or not. So not complicated at all, but very, very effective and convenient. Richard, I'm late. Can you show something? Show my face, I'm afraid. That's all you're going to see today. I've been talking away for an hour and 15 minutes now because we released Lion War. Go and buy it if you can on Steam right now. It's a discount during this week. Super cheap, to be honest. It's like 15 bucks. That's like a coffee. You can buy 10, maybe. Gift it to someone as well. All right. I see it in Tor browser. Okay, that's very private. Oh, we got Begum Big Bear. Hello, love your lessons. Thank you. I'm happy to share what I can. Please read. I read it, and I even called it out. Bagum. All right. Chris Delpierre. I hope to release a commercial game one day. I've released some game jam games. I have one cooking, but I'm not sure if it's commercially viable or the idea is even good. Very good question too. I think that's another thing I've learned, especially during the past few years or 5 or even more years. It's easy to come up with a game idea, and I've come up with so many thinking this is going to be great. It's going to be the best thing ever to play. Usually like a platformer or something. It's like a billion of those out there. But kidding aside, even some more unique ideas come up with. And it's also easy to think that, I'll make a game and I'll release it, and it's luck that will determine if it's successful or not. But I've actually come to a conclusion where that's very not so much the case with the luck, unless a very hard work produces luck or something. But it's so when it comes to game design, it's one thing I hope to do a lot more is play a lot more other games. And I've created a template. It's a Google Sheet template that I should be able to share at some point. It's actually a form, even a Google form, where you can play a game. And then there's like a questionnaire. So after you've played maybe 2 or 5 hours, it's a questionnaire where you can ask yourself a lot of questions. What did you like about the game? What was fun? What kept you wanting to play more? How did it teach you how to play? What was not so fun? What could be done better? What are the reviews saying? A lot of those type of things. Because learning game design is probably, I have a lot of techniques to do games, but learning game design and especially finding like a core game loop that's rewarding to play, I think that is what could be one of the biggest problem to get right, I think. So now we've got really cool tools with Unity and Unreal and everything. It's easy to create a prototype or something, but then when you play it, is it really that fun? And that's where game jams are really good, because usually you'll prototype an idea and go, why isn't it fun to play? Like I've created this thing, you can jump, you can shoot, but why isn't it fun? So I'm gonna analyze a lot more games in my spare time that doesn't exist, and start to write down like what is actually making this game good. And usually when you look at the top selling games on Steam, they do have something that's really, really good about them. Very good balancing, very good game design, very good UI or core, like everything like that tied together into a very good package. So if you analyze that and crack the code, maybe that could be helpful. All right. Can you see your phone and SMS? Well, I can see my phone, and I'm terrible when it comes to communication. I miss most things. But Jimpa has sent me an image. Ooh, I can see. Lion War is the top there. Hope it can stay there for a while. I don't know why it's not for me. Chris, Imphenzia, you should have an Imphenzia game jam. Would be cool community event. I agree. The one thing I will not try to make is a reoccurring game event that is happening every now and then, like according to a schedule, like Ludum Dare. There's good things for that already. Why is this music? But a one-off thing, or like every now and then, similar to the 24-hour streams that I've done, that would be cool, I think. So that could happen. That would be manageable, because then you can fit it in somewhere where time allows it. It could be like an Imphenzia game jam event, but without the promise of making it into a series, because then I'm destined to fail. You remember the monthly challenge, right? Unity tutorial number 2, please, Imphenzia. Yeah, I want to do the 2022 update of that one. The Unity tutorial that I made, the most basic one I've ever made, that's still by far my most successful video. It might have hit over 2 million views now. So that's on top of my priority list to try to get it done. So maybe now after the release. +1 for the Imphenzia Game Jam. Thanks, Michael. And did Steam remove where you can see how many people are playing? I was wanting to see how many people are playing Lion War. Custom Chris is asking. So there's something called Steam Spy or something. It's like a tool or something where you can install a Chrome extension that will show you how many people are playing, and history as well. So that's one thing to do. I don't think it updates directly. So I still can't end because I'm getting more questions. At Imphenzia, if you have any proper fire them off at me. We've got the Kenichi Yamamoto. Sounds Japanese to me. Sorry if it's not. I've been watching your videos for the past 2 or 3 years, and I learned a lot from you. Buying Lion Wars right now. Thank you. Well, I'm really happy that you've been following me for that long. Thumbs up. I'm fed up with my own voice sometimes, so if you've stuck around for 2 to 3 years, that's amazing. Thank you. And thanks for the purchase of Lion War as well. Truly appreciate it. Begum Big Bear. Unity or Unreal 4, probably Unreal 5 in that case, but both. I think they both have excellent use cases. So it depends on what you want to do and what you feel comfortable with using. So they're both excellent. And Godot as well is good for that, for some cases. All right, so we now try to make a game on UE4. Yeah, I mean, if you're okay with if you think you can reach all the way with the blueprint system and visually connect everything that you need to do, then that could be a way. Or if you want to learn, or if you know the C++ part of it to make that work, that scares me a little bit because it's so easy to just corrupt your memory and blue screen your PC. Then you can do that one. And yeah, like Chris says, Godot, that's a great tool. I tried it so far. I still haven't gotten quite used to it, of course, because I've only tried it for a couple of hours, but for sure, good opportunity as well. So surely it's bad time to buy if it's on sale. No, Skaka, you should. There's a very conscious decision to put it on sale because we want to encourage as many people to buy it as possible. And a multiplayer game, we've heard so many times, one of the key things that could make it fail is the fact that not enough people are playing. So that's one of my major concerns. And having a release discount, it's much more important for us to get players in, playing the game, enjoying it, than actually making squeezing that extra 25% out of people during the actual sales week. Then that would be a very short-term vision, I think, to have. So we're happy to offer it on discount and encourage as many people to pick it up. Maybe you could even gift it to people then, because then you're like, okay, let's gift it to a friend, and I'm going to challenge them to a game of Lion War. So, okie dokie, let's have a look here. We've got Hossein here as well. His questions are, Jen, first of all. Then we got Jen Abbott creates. You've definitely inspired me to jump back into UE5. Imphenzia, that's cool. Not a coder, but want to learn blueprints. Yeah, I think my impression of the blueprint system is that it's extremely competent and very well designed for if you want to create a game according to that template that doesn't require a lot of custom work. If you want to start building procedural worlds, and maybe you need to do like Lion War, for example, we would have found very difficult to do in Blueprints, if not impossible. But if you want to create a game that's got a set pattern, like a top-down, I keep reverting to like a top-down shooter or a platforming game or something like that, or a racing, simple arcade racing game, or a first-person shooter, if I didn't say that, third-person shooter, you name it. Blueprint systems will get you a very long way in Unreal Engine. Very, very impressed by how they were. Everything's there. It's searchable. It's like IntelliSense for blueprints. You can search things up. So if I'm going to do a simple like platforming game or something at some point, I'm seriously considering UE5 to do it. So cool to hear. Hossein, how many times you tried and got failed in modeling in Blender or creating a game in Unity before becoming the best? Well, I'm not the best. So I'm still on that journey, my friend. We'll see if I reach there one day. But I've tried and failed many times making games and doing modeling. It even took me 5 serious attempts of getting over to Blender in the first place before I finally managed to take the leap, because I could not get used to the right clicking to select things. Thankfully, they got rid of that nowadays. You left click, and I know you could customize it. But I finally got into it, and I mean, just look at my 10-minute builds. A lot of the ones there, I scroll back and go, okay, how can I even have 1 subscriber on YouTube? Because some of the builds that I've created there are like, yeah, questionable. But at least I can always blame that I did them in 10 minutes. So I've failed a lot of times, and making games as well. I've got so many half-finished game design documents. Still love some of the ideas in those, but never finished or never got around to start, even in some cases. Got a lot of prototypes that I've created, but I see all the failure equals plus experience. So if you fail 10 times, it's like 10 experience points that you just gained. So see it that way instead. Failure is part of it, a big part of it. Just don't let it stop you. Just keep failing, and one day maybe you'll hit a success thing. So we'll see how Line War does. I'm always prepared that life is full of failures, and you'll keep failing, and maybe one day something it becomes more successful than something else. So keep at it. All right. How high on Patreon to get your game review on a game? I don't know. Do they even Mega Wigan? Sorry. How high on Patreon to get your review on a game? Oh, so okay. So now so you want me to review a game, and you're asking what Patreon tier or something you need to be. I don't even. I don't think it works like that. Maybe I could just do a review if I just find out where it is. How do I find out where your game is? Maybe I can comment it or something. The problem is information flow for me right now. Information logistics. I've got so many channels of incoming information, emails, chat messages, and discords and stuff, so I find it difficult. I'd love to be able to do a lot more. So Alex Hamill, Imphenzia. Sorry if I missed the video, but did you finish the edge shader you were working on for Unity to copy the edge shader in Blender? Didn't finish it to the I left it at the point where that is from that video. So, but I did have contact with someone who made it further than I did, and I was going to interview him on one of my YouTube videos. So I don't know if he's still up for that, and if there's a way for maybe he could share a little bit the final step. The only thing I was missing, there was one thing. It was the inverse ambient occlusion I was missing. So I had the edge, I had the lit and shaded edges. I had the darkness areas of the ambient occlusion, the big spread, but I didn't have the inverted ambient occlusions in the center polygons. That was what was remaining. Hopefully I'll be able to pick that up at some point and release it. Oh yeah, that someone we got Chris Paddle here. You just completed the equation there. Failure plus experience equals success. Well, that's better than the way I said it. So very true. All right, so Jim Engström, keep failing, and one day one of your fails may succeed. Then it's not a fail anymore. Woo! Okay, that's it now. I've been talking now for an hour and a half. So, and I just showed my face the whole time. I didn't share my screen even once. So I'm going to finish off there, guys. Come back next Thursday if you want to see another stream. I'm probably going to stream again, do some Blender modeling with you guys then. And also, thanks a lot for watching. It was fun to have a little chat with you guys. And I'm going to try to wind down a little bit now, have another cup of coffee, and see if I need to tend to any operation tasks now. It's going to become a big part of my life now to run the operations here for the Lion War backend, and have a lot of probably reviews going, why didn't you do this? I demand that this was done in the game. And I'm going to go, oh, sorry. Well, we know that a lot of people want this, but we haven't been able to just yet. Maybe if we can get there in the end. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Thanks, Hussein. And thanks, everyone. I'm going to end the stream right there. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend that's coming up. Enjoy the spring and the summer, everything like that. Stay productive, creative, and everything like that. And should I put, hopefully I have the outro here. So first I'm going to play the Lion War trailer. How about that? So first the trailer and then the outro. See if this works.